energy, just like anything else, energy will flow where there's least resistance, or there's no blockages. So if you are tense and you're anxious and you are doing the most and you are creating a resistance, you're almost repelling what it is that you want and allowing it to actually come in. Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, whichever side of the screen that I have it on, as well as the bell. So anytime any new content is uploaded, you're going to be the first to know about it. So you guys, I wanted to get into this video. So basically this is just about you being able to relax, allow, align, and assume. Okay. Which, you know, a lot of times when we really want something, whatever that manifestation may look like for you, right? Whatever that higher version of yourself looks like, whenever we really want something, we push after it, we pull after it. That's just the way that we're wired to see, what can I do? You know, what do I need to do? And we push, we push, we push. And when we're talking about law of assumption, manifestation is more so about you just being able to align with what it is that you desire, what it is that you want, being able to pull it from that quantum field, that already, where they say all things exist at once, right? All versions of you, all possible outcomes, it's already laid out. The book is complete from beginning to end. It's just you aligning with that version, tuning that dial to that frequency to allow that in. But again, a lot of times easier said than done. But we think, you know, work, and there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying be lazy, have no type of work ethic or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we're led to believe that the harder we work for something, the more likely we are to get that, right? It's just the way that we're wired to believe that our physical, how hard we work, you know, and a lot of times if you really want something, that's natural. You're going to want to try to find out, well, how can I get it? And I'll work extra hard, put in more hours. I'll do this, I'll do that, right? Whatever. And that can look very different for many of us, whatever that manifestation is, whatever that higher version of yourself, whatever that looks like. That will depend, right, on the amount of effort to try to get that. And you will notice that, like with anything, right? If you are chasing something, if you're chasing something, what does that even imply? Even the term chase implies that something is running, okay? And everything is energy. Everything is an energetic frequency. If you put it down to the atomic level, everything is energy, and it was first energy before it came down to the 3D and to manifest. When you want something, that's just a natural thought to work harder. But there is work to be done, but it's not in the way that you think. Okay, your work is to work to stay in alignment. Your work is to allow yourself to be relaxed enough to allow in, because energy, it's just like anything else. Energy will flow where there's least resistance. Where there's least resistance, where there's no blockages, that's where the energy is going to flow in. So if you are tense and you're anxious and you are doing the most, you're working hard, then you are creating a resistance. Unawareingly, you are creating a resistance to what it is that you want. You're almost repelling off what it is that you want and allowing it to actually come in. Have you ever noticed, like, again, where you are looking for a pen, right? Maybe you need to jot something down real quick. Of course, you can't find a pen, of course, but the moment that you don't need one, right? When you're not looking for one, pens are popping up left and right, okay? Or you're looking everywhere for your keys. Oh, I just saw my keys. Where are they? Where are they? I need to go. I got to get out of here. Looking for your keys. And the moment, of course, obviously, you stop looking, of course they pop up. And where were they? But right in front of your face. And that's just a little small example of when we are pushing, right? Where we're chasing, we're pushing. You can't allow that energy to flow. Okay. And it's like I say, it's always easier said than done. That's why we do talk about making micro adjustments, continuous, about being self-aware and making continuous micro adjustments meaning that you are self-aware, so you know when you're out of alignment. And I've talked about this in previous videos. Again, you know, obviously, when you want something, everything needs to be in alignment, okay? Because you could be speaking an affirmation, but if energetically, emotionally, you are out of alignment with what you are saying, then it's almost like that the emotions that you are feeling are canceling out that affirmation, okay? Because it's just dispersing. The energy can't go anywhere because it's not in total alignment, right? The frequency is not the same. It's not emitting the same. You're saying one thing, but you're not really feeling it. You're saying I'm abundant, I'm this, I'm that, but you don't really feel that way. And you're making decisions based off of lack, poverty, scarcity mindset, fear-based decisions that's not in alignment with being abundant, being on the other side of that manifestation, living in the end. You're not doing that. And it's just like, and I've also used this example in other videos where if you're saying, oh, I want love, right? But you are singing and you're listening to nothing but songs about heartbreak. You're singing those songs out loud. And like I've said this in other videos, that music, is nothing more than like affirmations, basically with melody. Okay, it's you literally speaking affirmations with melody, especially if it has a repeating chorus. And again, those micro adjustments. I myself have songs that I love to listen to by artists that I love. But when I really listen to what it is that I'm singing along with or listening to, nodding my head to, it's not something that's in alignment with anything that I want. Okay. So you have to really be careful with, like I say, what it is that you are consuming, as well as what it is that you are exuding and giving off. And all of that takes a little bit of practice. Think of yourself as being like a radio tower, okay? And in being a radio tower, you are emitting different emotional frequencies. Those are the frequencies that you're giving off. And other people that are tuned to that station will pick up on your station, right? Others that are tuned to that frequency will pick up on that station that you're emitting. So whatever that is, if it's lack, if it's abundance, if it's excellent health, if it's being sick, if it's whatever station that you are tuned to, whatever frequency you're giving off is what is going to pick up others around you that are tuned to that same station. All right. Like how they always talk about like minds think alike. And I'm not saying that we're not born into certain environmental conditions, not saying that at all, but your frequency, right? If you allow your environment to dictate your frequency, which is not hard to do, it's harder to go against the grain, if anything, and align with, you're from an impoverished background, but you grow up and you become affluent and, to go against the grain or, whatever. But let's just say you have a group of people all live in the same city, but everyone has a very, very different take on the city. Okay, in terms of one person looks at it as a great place to enjoy fine dining and theater and walks in the park. Someone else looks at it as a concrete jungle, right? Someone else looks at it as really a place with great nightlife and lots of opportunities, career opportunities. The next person looks at it as a war zone. Okay, so it depends on what frequency you're tuned into, right? It depends on what frequency you're tuned into, right? And one person's reality is not more valid than the next person, right? So basically they're all true. And it's just it's the same way when it comes to, when we talk about the many, many different versions of you that exist in the quantum field and all that. One is not, more true than the other version. Okay, they're all kind of existing at once and they all have truth at once. It just depends on what station you choose to tune into. Okay, do you want to tune into the concrete jungle station, right, where everything's a war zone and really hard, or are you tuned into the station where they'd say, oh, it's great nightlife and fine dining and theater? The next person, oh, lots of career opportunities and, just a great place to raise your kids. Everyone's going to have a very different take, okay? But it just depends on what frequency you're emitting, what frequency you're aligned to. Or birds of a feather flock together. Okay, kind of the same if you think about it, right? People that are tuned to the same frequency will attract each other, right? Will run in the same circles, in the same group. Or types of groups. So it's the same thing. So it's really about you understanding just how powerful you are. And the work is not that physical work of chasing and pushing so hard. Because like I say, the more that you are tense and you are trying to force and anxious, the more that you are pushing away what it is that you desire. And you're only, tense, anxious because you really want it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's really knowing, like I say, and it's interesting, there's other videos that also kind of, give way to that. A lot of times if we don't see immediate results, or the 3D is contradictory to what it is that we're pushing for, sometimes it's really hard or it could feel really hard to believe in that our manifestations are on its way. Okay, but we talk about that bridge from the 4D to the 5D, and that bridge, when we talk about co-creation with the universe, basically what we're talking about is, you do the work of deciding to align and staying in alignment with whatever version, right? Whatever higher version of yourself that you want to align with. But then the rest is having faith and allowing the universe to do its thing. Okay, do what it does the best, which is create an infinite number of possible ways to bring you your manifestation, right? A lot of times maybe we can only see one or two ways of us getting to our destination, right? But the universe has an infinite number of ways to get you there. Okay, you're thinking you have to travel by foot or by bus when the universe has a helicopter and an airplane ready for you. Okay, so or a spaceship, I don't know, I'm just saying, but you guys get the idea of what I'm saying. So again, it's about you being able to relax, know that the universe is creating that bridge, and that bridge sometimes is not going to be always pretty, right? Because sometimes you could be in a place where you see no possible way to get from point A to point B. Okay, you see the other side, you're living from the end. Okay, you feel abundant, you feel this, you feel that, but you realistically don't see any way that you could be bridged from where you're at currently to where it is that you want to be. But that's where the magic comes in. That's where the creation, what the universe has an infinite number of ways to deliver. Okay, but it's just about you being flexible enough and be easy enough, right, to allow that in. Okay, but anyway, I hope you guys found this video to be helpful, useful. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Again, like I say, share the video. Someone else who may need to hear it or may find this video to be useful, definitely do share the video. Leave lots of comments down below, you guys. Like I always say, a comment that you leave, it might be right in divine timing. Someone else may need to hear it right on time, could be very useful, helpful to them. So leave lots of comments. I love you guys. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.